What's up? So, in my last video, I talked about why my breakup with my now ex-girlfriend was so good, and I gave a bunch of reasons why a good breakup starts with a good relationship. And I talked a little bit about like what I do with my flag system. I look for some green flags, like the things that I like in a partner and want and need in a partner. And then I look for red flags, more importantly. In fact, I look for the red flags first. I look for the reasons that I shouldn't date the person or that I wouldn't want to date the person first because, wow, to waste my time, right? So I want to talk a little bit now about why Tinder worked for me. I met my girlfriend on Tinder, and a little bit about the difference between Tinder for introverts versus Tinder for extroverts. Now, like I mentioned that both my ex-girlfriend and I are introverted. If you're into the Myers-Briggs thing, I'm an INTP, she's an INTJ. And so we both value like idea-based discussion. And we're both very individualistic and we have our own things going on. So we don't want to like waste our time with someone unless there's going to be something that comes of it, right? So Tinder worked great for us because, well, first of all, the physical attractiveness part was out of the way. You swipe right. You swipe right if you're attracted to the person. You swipe left if you're not, and that's a good thing in general by itself because like that's not a discussion you ever have to have or something that you have to learn the hard way. Like it sucks when you meet somebody super cool, but physical attractiveness is something that you value and they just don't have it as far as you're concerned. And you have to say, look, man, like you're awesome. You have a great personality and all this stuff, but I'm just not physically attracted to you like that, And so like that can be hurtful and difficult. But it's also interesting from an evolutionary standpoint because I mean, physical attractiveness is fundamental for most people in what they desire in a partner because it tells you something about them. It tells you like either they take care of themselves or that they have good genes and you'd eventually want to reproduce with the person, whether you realize it or not. But it can kind of be boiled down to that, and that's why people value attractiveness in a relationship. But so yeah, obviously, like that part was out of the way, but I think for us and for introverts in general, Tinder's awesome because it matches you up and it gives you a platform to have a discussion. And so, whereas I think an extrovert would be more likely to want to meet up sooner rather than later and sort out your similarities and differences in person. An introvert is going to be more likely to not want to leave his or her house before doing that, like before sorting those things out. Like we don't want to waste our time going out. We want to talk about our similarities and differences and our desires in a relationship or for a relationship and sort that out before we leave our house, because like we'd rather stay in if we don't have a good reason to go out. And if red flags, so to speak, come up in that conversation, then you don't have to waste your time leaving your fucking apartment, So that's why it worked for us. And we actually ended up talking on Tinder, texting on Tinder for a while, probably for like a week before we exchanged phone numbers. And then we texted for another like 3 weeks or so before we even met up. So we just really enjoyed talking to each other. There was a lot of common ground, and we did a little bit of like arguing and debating about certain things, but they were nothing that we saw as roadblocks for a potential relationship. And we just enjoyed discussion and sharing ideas, and that sort of thing is fundamental for both of us individually in relationships, and it is for lots of people of our like personality types, right? So yeah, Tinder fucking worked, and I highly recommend it. But you have to be smart about it. You know, it's like using Craigslist. Like, there's a lot of scammy bullshit on Craigslist, but you have to know how to sort that out. You have to be good at, like, you know, you have to have that internet eye, that scam eye. Like, you have to be able to see bullshit. Like, you know, if you get matched up with a girl on Tinder and she's speaking on like a very superficial level about making plans, and then she asks you for your email address, and she wants to share a nude video with you, and you have to pay like $1, like put your credit card information and pay like $1 to view the video. Don't fucking do it, because they're going to steal your credit card information and probably your identity too. So just don't let your dick do the fucking work here, you know? I mean, I know that like you swipe right based on physical attractiveness, but that doesn't mean that you can't use your head when it comes to communicating. Like, use your head when you're communicating. That's what communication is supposed to be about. Is this, not that. All right? So fuck. Yeah, that's generally why I think Tinder is cool and it works, and you should try it too if you're single.